Your body was shaking as you walked down the narrow road of the Yukiwa towards the pleasure chambers. You didn't have a Koro to accompany you, since you weren't a Oiran nor a Shinjin. Becoming Lady Yatamoto's desperate children, basically. Your palms were sweating once you've reached the pleasure chambers and nervously stood in front of the room where Tengen was. You thought you knew what to expect, and you weren't entirely prepared for this type of experience. They always say the first night with a customer wasn't so bad. For an Oiran, she'll sit several feet away from him and not dare eat, drink, nor talk with him, but instead would observe him from afar while the customer partied hard, and she would only decide if the customer was worthy of her service. However, being a simple maid, you'll have to engage and attend to his every need for the rest of the night and do whatever he asks/ tells you. And the thought of him doing other things with you, making you feel dizzy as you hesitantly slid open the Fuzisam doors. Are you gonna come in, or are you just gonna stand there all night? Your heart nearly fell out of your rib cage as you heard the sound of his voice. How the hell could he have known you're there? Were you making too much noise for him to hear you? Swallowing hard, you briefly took a deep breath before sliding the soji open. Your breath immediately hitched at the sight of him. Tall, confident, and strong he looked. Those piercing fuchsia eyes seemed to study your face and figure 1,000 times over. It was the first time in years that someone looked at you with such intensity. Your face warmed in response that you felt like you were gonna bawl out and run. Fuck, he's every bit as beautiful as he was when you had encountered him in the ruins. Tengen noticed your blush reaction, and his signature smile only widened. His teeth were practically perfect, and you briefly and naughtily wondered how they would feel dragging along your skin. Your skin was burning with anticipation, and you shifted slightly to help alleviate some of the fluttering butterflies in your stomach and anxiety. When you cautiously entered the room, it was nothing like you used to as you closed the soji and knelt on your knees in a sajin to prostrate yourself. For a moment, you sat there awkwardly and shyly ran a hand through your long locks. You're not really sure how to naturally proceed from here, but you've merely learned to comply as you simply awaited his command. At last, we meet again, Tengen finally says, and then patted on the divaned pillow next to him. Oh my god. Sorry, I haven't even started. Don't be shy, kitten. Come and sit with me, he says joyfully. Kitten? You tilted your head in question. A first night together and he's already giving you a nickname? Well, at least it's better than being called Parasite, and despite his invention, you hesitant. Should I? You slightly ask yourself, curiously looking over him. You briefly knew him, despite this being your third meeting. He's very attractive, and the thought of him being with you had feelings of all kinds of anxiety, though you often imagine what it would feel like to be completely engrossed by him. But now that you had the opportunity to make your thoughts a reality, a part of you was still a bit nervous to take advantage of this privilege, even when the opportunity presented itself so amazingly. But you're not worth it. No, I couldn't, you bluttered, failing and to express that you didn't want to be close to him. Don't stop with that I'm too shy crap and come sit with me, he insists, patting the spot beside him again, but a little harder this time. Was that a demand or a request? God, you didn't know, but the way he spoke to you was actually kind of sexy. He's blunt but welcoming. Tengen's not the type of man to take no for an answer, so you try it again. Would you like something to eat first? Perhaps a drink? You politely ask, stalling. No. I'd much rather have you as my meal, he smirks. Your face immediately reddens like a tomato as his words catch you off guard. Well, that totally backfired, for you weren't expecting that, as your heart did a drum solo. Tengen chortles, but continues to sit gruffly at his spot and starts prompting. We don't have to do anything, Miss Keiichiro. What we do behind closed doors will remain between you and I. So please, come sit with me, he says, more politely now. Eventually your body moved before you realized what was happening as you shyly approached him and knelt next to him. Tengen hummed in appreciation, watching you shyly approach him as he sat a few inches away from him. You immediately flinched when he threw a muscular arm around your shoulders, pulling you closer. The contact made your heart race, and you had no doubt he could hear your pulse and his suddenly heightened senses. There, that wasn't so hard, was it? He chuckles. You blush, the strong scent of vanilla and spice potent now that you were very close to him. His boisterous disposition and symmetrical smile that illuminated your heart, especially when he flashes that smile in his biscuit. Oh my god. Try as you might, you can't seem to muster even the beginnings of a proper sentence. Lucky for you. He takes your dumbfounded silence in stride. Clearly, he's used to it. You look beautiful, by the way, he compliments. What? Favorite color. It looks good on you. He gestures to your kimono. It's a very flamboyant color. You, again, blush at his words. This whole thing, I threw it on something that looked nice. I originally was wearing a plain second favorite colored one. You tell him. Besides, I know you don't mean that. Oh, damn it, I gave the wrong voice. I'm serious, he retorted, pulling back your hair, revealing your pretty face to him. You look up, and yes, Tengen definitely looked serious, showing no signs of dissent as he smiled at you. Thank you, Uzui, but you look better than me. Don't compare yourself to me. Tengen cuts you off before leaning inches towards your face, that you could feel his lips brush against yours. You're beautiful, so don't ever compare yourself to me or anyone else, okay? Oh my god, it was dazzling eyes that tell no lies. An enthusiastic smile that illuminates your heart. At this rate, you're gonna have a damn heart attack, and I will too. Never had a man called you beautiful and was as precedent as Tengen. If you can't tell, I'm a fucking simp for Tengen and his wives. Okay, you smile shyly, all the while blushing like a lovesick schoolgirl. Tengen smiled back warmly at you, a look that contrasted with the lighting in the room. Anyways, why don't we take a time to get to know each other better? He begins. How long have you been here? Being a maid at a brothel? Doesn't sound flamboyant at all. If you ask me. Tengen questions, voice rilled with a slight unease. He was right, of course. This schedule was harsh, and your house was suffering. You were becoming isolate due to the lack of sleep and almost developed a syphilis cold. For all the dusting you did on a daily basis, no doubt. On some days, you're beginning to look like a Jeremiah doll. Just look that up because I don't know how to explain it. 2 years. I usually spend all my days doing housework as much as cooking and cleaning. Lady Yatamoto says it'll help me gain more experience before I actually become a geisha or oiran. You exclaim. But truth be told, you'll never be one. The reason you were here was so you could pay off your debts to society and earn enough to leave Yoshiwara for good and find a new home. That's a load of crap. You heard Tengen scoff. It was enough to compensate his disdain. That's definitely abuse, he stated matter-of-factly, while snorting a wistful scowl. Figures, since this is Yoshiwara you're talking about. After a pause, he leaned forwards, close enough so you could feel the he trading off as being. Instead of blushing this time, you studied his face intently, as he just had yours. He's stupidly handsome, deep fuchsia eyes, and the strange dotted mark over his left eye. Is it wrong that you want to kiss him right now? You deserve better, Tengen says. Oh my god, you're seriously in trouble. You're seriously smitten by this beautiful man right in front of you. And so am I.